Hi everyone, happy Friday. I was having a couple mic issues, but all seems to be good now. Welcome to Coffee with Dari Live. I am Dariana Lozano, a brand strategist and social media strategist out of New York City, and I'm here to share my knowledge with you. I do these lives every first and third Friday of the month, and it's really exciting to be here every week, sharing and answering questions and helping everyone out. So, today's topic is very important. It's something I have dealt with myself. I help clients work through all the time. And it's the getting over the fear of self promotion. And this is something that I literally deal with every day, not in a bad way, but showing up online can be scary. Whether you're doing it for yourself as a personal brand or if you're doing it for a business, it can be scary. You're putting yourself out there. You are literally putting yourself out there to the world, essentially, because things on the internet live in the world all over, right? It's not like you're just standing on the street corner, just talking to the people that are passing by. It's literally going out to everyone. So I understand the overwhelm that can come with that. And I've been through it myself. And then when you are a CEO or a business owner, an entrepreneur, kind of the face of a company, you have extra pressure on your shoulders, right? You want to look good, right? You want to sound good. You want people to understand what you're saying. You want them to receive your message. Obviously, we all love to get likes and comments and engagement because it feels good, right? And not just that, but the more eyes we have on us, the more potential clients, business, fans you have. So there is a lot of pressure that comes with putting yourself out there. So if you're dealing with fear of self promotion, I completely understand. Then the other side of that is also some of us, like me, I like to be behind the scenes, right? This is why I love doing what I do because I love helping clients figure out how to shine, right? How do we pull out those pieces of you that make you you? How do we take your message and uh, massage it and finesse it and put it out there to the world in a way that gets you more business, more clients, more sales? I love doing that. So when it comes to me being front and center, I am so shy, which is kind of crazy because here I am live, but you kind of have to get over it, right? We're not used to it doesn't feel humble for a lot of us to toot our own horns. It doesn't feel humble for us to show up and talk about ourselves and show up and talk about our businesses and how great our product is. Especially when you're just getting started, or it might be your first time setting your foot into being a thought leader or putting yourself out there in that way. Some of us naturally, obviously, have this, but for us, we're a little bit more introverted. It can be a little difficult. So, I wanted today to talk about the fear of self promotion, how to get over it, and how to show up confidently on Instagram or LinkedIn, whatever your desired network of choice is. So, I wrote some notes down as I usually do, but a little looser this time because I really want to speak to my experience and how I help my clients move through this fear of self promotion. And the first thing I want to say to get over the fear of self promotion is that if you do no self promotion and you don't talk about yourself and you don't toot your own horn, no one is going to know what you do. No one is going to know that you have a product, a service, something that will help them. At the end of the day, if you are an entrepreneur or a business owner, you started your business to solve a problem, which inherently means you want to help people. But if you don't let people know how you can help, you're not going to help anybody and you're not going to help yourself because if no one knows you have something to offer, no one will buy from you because they just don't know. The other thing I want to mention is that it feels boring or repetitive to us to show up and talk about the same things day after day, but it doesn't to your audience. Uh, think about when you buy something or when you take a class with someone. How many times did it actually take of you seeing that to not only remember it, but also take the action of going to get your credit card, going to get your wallet, and being in a place where you can sit down and make the purchase. Statistically, it takes about 7 touch points before someone buys something or follows you, something like that, before they, convert into something for you. So, don't be afraid to show up. Don't be afraid to talk about what you do or talk about your product 24/7 because and honestly with these algorithms, no one sees every single thing you put out there. An example, I was having a chat with a colleague the other day and he asked if I had seen his Instagram post. I'd been following him, he was on vacation, and I'd seen all his stories, but I didn't see the actual posts. I saw some of them, but not all of them. And that just goes to show with algorithms, even with an account that I was actively interacting with, I did not see everything that was put out there. So don't be afraid to show up. Okay, now let's move into how we actually move past this fear, the things that I've done, the things that how I help clients move through this fear and actually show up with confidence. So, first and foremost, you need to be super clear on your mission, why you're doing this, why your product helps, why as a CEO you need to be front and center showing up. And there's lots of reasons. Last week I went over some. There's conversion. You want to create more connection. You need more clients. You need more shareholder buy-in. Maybe you need to communicate more with any employees, clients, customers. Right. So those are several reasons. But what is your mission? I think this is especially important if you are a thought leader, an entrepreneur, really figuring out like why you started your business. Why is what you have to say important? Why should people listen to you? What is your mission? Keep that very clear in your mind. Clarity breeds confidence because when you're super clear, it doesn't matter what noise you're hearing, what comments you're getting. You have a mission, you're here to complete that mission, you're gonna do whatever it takes to get there, right? Next, I had to after I, worked on my mission or after I work with clients figuring out, what their mission is, we work on the measure of success. So what are your goals and how are you actually going to measure success? And on social media, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, it may be followers. Don't concentrate as much on the followers. I'll talk about that in a minute. But it's engagement, it's clicks, it's people viewing your videos. It's maybe your email is growing. It could be obviously engagement is one of them. We all want to get likes, followers, shares, comments, of course, all those things. But you have to decide on what your measure of success is. Maybe your measure of success isn't even that yet. Okay. For me, for a while, I was blogging once a week. And then I got burnt out of because I just couldn't do it anymore. And I had to make a choice about how I was going to show up. And now I've been consistent with these lives, but that was it for me. My goal was how do I let's be consistent. How do I carve out time? Because again, it's like that. What's that saying? The shoemaker's kids have no shoes, or I something along those lines. Correct me, anyone here, if I'm wrong. But um, how do I carve out time so that I can show up 3 times a week on Instagram and I can do my lives? Doing a live once a week, not gonna work with my schedule. So what can I do? So that was my goal. So what is your measure of success? You have to figure out what that is for you. That all depends on what stage you're in your business and showing up. Maybe you want to start real slow and it's just once a week. Showing up is better than not showing up at all. So again, your measure of success is really important because once that one's done, then the next goal gets so much easier. Plus, you come up with systems. We'll talk about that in a minute. And I did talk about not focusing so much on followers. And the reason why I bring that up is because followers can be finicky, right? A lot of people can watch your content. Maybe you pop up in their feeds often. That happens to me on Threads. It happens to me on Instagram, where I have people that pop up in my feed. I don't necessarily follow them. Not because I don't like their content, but maybe because they just pop up for me, and that's why I don't feel the need to completely follow them. Um, but that doesn't mean people aren't seeing. And therefore, if you focus on just the followers, you're going to probably just be disappointed until things get off the ground. And I don't want you to set yourself up for disappointment or feeling like a failure, right? There's a story that I just heard recently about a man who was on YouTube, and he only had like 11 views per video, but he kept showing up and it kept being 11, 12. Not much, but he kept showing up. And it happened to be that one of those viewers was Oprah. Oprah Winfrey was one of his 11 viewers, and he ended up getting a job. I have to find the story so I can link it for you, but it just goes to show that it's not always about that number. The right people can be sitting in that handful. And if you just focus on followers, you are going to lose sight of what actually matters, which is your content, how often you're showing up, how you're showing up. Is your content actually working? Do you need to make a shift? There's so many other things that come before you start getting that big influx. So if you focus on the wrong goal, you're gonna be disappointed, and then that's gonna take the wind out of your sails, and you're not gonna wanna do this anymore. So I don't want you to set yourself up for failure in that sense. Um, failure. Um, okay, so after I had that measure of success, I felt like I had to make sure that I was never running out of content ideas, right? Because obviously we wanna show up. How do you figure out what to talk about over and over again? And listen to what I said. How do you figure out what to talk about over and over again? Not how do you come up with a million different ideas, but how do I say what I need to say in a million different ways? I think that's an easier way to focus on that. So, what are you going to talk about? Again, this all goes back to clarity also. What do you need to talk about? What's your message? How do you stand out and not look like everyone else? You have to define what that point of view is and who you are in order to stand out from everything else that's going on. That could be visually, that could be your writing style, it could be uh, just how you show up. Um, there's so many ways to figure that part out, but the clarity comes from figuring out what your message is, what you want to talk about, how you put yourself out there. For me, that was visually. I use a very specific filter. I've been using it for years. My photography has a certain flavor to it of my own eye. And, I've only figured that out because I keep posting pictures and people tell me, oh, I know it's your post when it's coming into my feed. I automatically, before I even look at the name, I know it's you. Um, but you only develop that by doing it, right? So figure out what your angle is, what your unique point of view is. I talked about this last week. If you want that video, I can definitely send you the link. Just send me a message. But yes, figuring out a million ways to say what you want to say. And the thing about that is also that the more you put yourself out there, the more you try things, the more you figure out what works and what doesn't, so you can make tweaks so that your measure of success actually starts to make sense. It all links to it all works all together, I promise. Um, okay, and then after I figured out how to never run out of ideas. And again, that goes down to really getting clear on what it is you're talking about, the one, two things that you want to talk about. And this can shift, right? So I can decide for the next 6 months, I'm just going to focus on talking about this one thing. And then when I'm kind of done with that, I can move on to the next thing. But it's really focusing in and narrowing down, right? Sometimes a lot of us want to talk about a lot of different things, but that actually confuses people. So the more we simplify, the better, which is a good segue into my next point of how to get over the fear of self promotion is to simplify the entire process so that it becomes second nature. The thing about this is that this whole plan, when it's put into place, really puts the blinders on. So you don't have time to be scared. You just know that you have to show up. And you have to show up because you want to make this business work. You want to show up because you need to establish relationships as a CEO. You need to show up. You need to be seen. There are, you got your mission you got to complete. And so, therefore, having a plan in place and simplifying this entire process just literally, you make it so that it's like you get up, you brush your teeth, you wash your face, this is how easy that process needs to be so that you don't get overwhelmed by it and it's not something like, "Oh, damn, I forgot I need to now sit here and think about what I need to post today." That makes it so, so frustrating and makes it a chore. But again, if you make things easy for yourself, batch content, um, and really find the process that works for you, it makes the entire process so much easier. And again, you don't have the time to live in fear. A plan will keep you figuring it out. You're just gonna work the plan. You're not gonna think about outside things. You're not gonna think about who's showing up. You need to show up. You're the one that needs to show up, and you show up like you have the, I don't know, whatever your goal number is, 100,000 followers, a million followers. You show up the best version of yourself that you can. And yeah, that's what's important to me when I work with clients is figuring out what they need to talk about, the easiest way for them to talk about it, and then the path of least resistance to showing up. So what does that look like for you? And what that looked like for me was creating these live videos. Now I have a video I can create a ton of content from this one piece. So that makes it easier for me. Then figuring out how to make content easy for myself. All right, well, every week or during the summer, every week, almost every week, I get myself flowers and I just find it really relaxing to sit and cut my flowers, make an arrangement. And so I was like, oh, I can film that. That's content. Also, these talking head videos are easy to do. Just prop your phone up. Don't make it complicated. Okay. Prop your phone up, talk to your phone, get the message out there. Then I do these lives. These lives help me connect with my audience more. And then they help me with content later on because I take these, I cut them up, I post them, and yeah, this is how I've kind of worked the process. Um, and that's what I want to see for everyone out there. I want you to, again, I work behind the scenes to help people shine, and that's the process that we go through. And yeah, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. I'm more than happy to answer. And if you need more help, I do have a program that will help you walk through these steps. So it's 3 days. 3 days of videos. I actually did this live, so you'll get some insight from some people that went through it live as well with me. But we focus on defining that unique point of view so you can go from sounding like everyone else to really standing out and connecting with the right audience. Um, how to stop overthinking and gain clarity. This is it's a free masterclass that I have. I will link it here later. And then how to create impactful content. And I walk you through all those steps. Let me actually grab the link now. I should have had this prepared. The beauty of live, beauty of live, right? Give me 1 second because now I'm having issues, of course. But I will be waiting for questions as I do this. Be prepared. That's the other thing, right? All right. One moment. I'm getting it. I am getting it. I'm getting it. Mm, Masterclass. I've done so many of these. That's what the issue is. Okay, here we go. And it's called Three Secrets to, there we go, Three Secrets to Profitable, Powerful Posting on Instagram. And there is the link. If you are signed up for my list, I will show you the replay, or I'll send the link to that replay in my email. And we have a question, or not a question, a comment. Wim says you are so right. Chance an analysis of analysis paralysis, and to just go for it. Yes, I think when we try to kind of piece things together without planning, at least for myself, it becomes overwhelming because then you have the pressure of like, oh, I haven't done it yet. I need to get this out right now. I need to get it out today. And that puts so much pressure. Then you're like, oh, well, I'm not inspired, right? I'm not inspired. How do I get inspiration right now? And then you end up on Instagram or LinkedIn, like doom scrolling, just going, trying to get inspiration. And then it doesn't come. And then you're frustrated and then you just end up posting nothing. So to avoid all that, you have to have a plan in place. And again, I totally understand that fear of like putting yourself out there. You want to put your best foot forward. You want to look good. You want to speak well. So give yourself the opportunity to do that by planning everything out. And these elements that I talk about, uh, these are the main ones. These are the ones that really make the big difference, right? It seems a little basic, but I feel like the basic things are the ones that make the most impact for us. So that's why in the masterclass, I go over how I made content easier than ever. My core philosophies of how I've helped myself and clients successfully build brands in the past 15 years. Even if you kind of have gotten stuck and left it and don't know what to do and don't know how to bounce back, there's always a way to get the ball rolling. So we'll go over that and the exact three things that help my clients go from nothing to four figures in sales in just weeks of posting. Uh, so we go through all that in the free masterclass. And then I also have a program where we dive into defining your unique point of view, how the questions to ask yourself to stop overthinking and really gain that clarity on what it is that you're posting, what it is you need to post or need to say in order to reach your goals, and creating that impactful content. So you're going from like, what do I post, to knowing exactly what you need to post. And that's also linked there in the masterclass. But I think the masterclass is super helpful to go through and it's free. And it's one that I'm really proud of that I put out there. So if no other questions are here, I will wrap it up. I always say I'm just here to give you value. I'm not here to waste your time. Time is precious. And I'd prefer you go spend the time watching the masterclass. So, as the next step. All right. If you're catching this on the replay, go ahead and leave me a comment or send me a message. I'm more than happy to answer your questions. And if not, have a wonderful weekend and get on my list so you can get the replay to this. All right. Thank you so much. See you next time.